So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again. Usual Monday evening podcast, and we are still top of the league, still 5 points clear. And yeah, absolutely insane. Mad game at the Emirates. 9 seconds in, 1-0 down. 97th minute, 3-2 up. Absolute scenes. Kenny, you was there. How was your weekend after that, mate?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was. I'd normally, I'll go home within a reasonable time. I just thought I'd stay a bit longer, say what happened. There was a lot of calm after the storm, but there was an absolute storm. When that goal went in, around the ground, loads of emotions. People just saying, "I cannot believe it." Last year against Wolves, as I said in the fan camp, that was nothing. It's top four. This is better, much better. This was bounce back ability. This is a team that wants to be in contention for winning the league. And for me, it was brilliant. Nothing was going to spoil my weekend. I have no ill towards Man United or Liverpool. I didn't find what happened to Man United remotely funny. I find it a bit. I had empathy with Man United fans because we've been on a few hidings ourselves, man, over the years. So, and humiliating ones. So I was not going to laugh at them. The only thing I've got to say after the day, Thomas Partey's the best player in the league, and great teams win more than one trophy a season. So we will be going for the Europa League. We won't be forsaking that, despite what people want. And who people say we should not go for the Europa League don't speak for the majority of fans. Tell that to people who are going to going to Lisbon this Wednesday, this Thursday.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. Jez, how's your weekend been, mate? Obviously, I know it's freezing cold back in England right now, but other than the weather, how was your weekend after watching that heart attack football at the weekend?
Mate, I tell you what, it's awesome, isn't it? You can't put two games back to back and have finishes like that. I've never seen that in my life. Two games to finish. It's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I was down and out. I thought, oh, well, we're going to get a 2-2. It's a point, not happy, but it's a point. And then all of a sudden, bing, bang, bosh, Reece Nelson scores an unbelievable goal. And my foot is still hurting where I kicked the bedpost over there as I was jumping up and down. It was just unbelievable. And what a great weekend. I mean, I was buzzing Saturday night, still buzzing yesterday, and even today, still thinking, did that really happen? It was amazing. And the thing is, Lee, Kenny, is that what I absolutely loved about it is the passion from Thomas Partey. When he scored that goal, he didn't run around the back of the goal and go and celebrate in front of the North Bank. He went straight in, picked that ball up, ran back to the centre spot, put it down and said, come on, we can do this. And you can not ask anything more than a football team that we love to go and do that. Absolutely unbelievable. Fantastic. What a great game. What a great weekend. I'm loving it right now.
Yeah, I think we all are, mate. And this is what we've wanted for many, 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 many years. That feeling of actually we could win the title. It's been a long, long time coming. Let me start with you, Kenny. You was at the game. And I mean, you'd barely taken your seat before they went 1-0 up. I mean, what was the atmosphere and the mood like as soon as that goal went in? Because me doing it and watching it on TV, Ola hadn't even joined the stream at that point. Yeah, and I was just sat there like this. What have I just witnessed? What was the mood like in the ground?
It was shocked because it was straight from the kickoff, and it was like, what is going on here? But and people won't complain. We're calm because because it's Bournemouth and because of where they are on the table and how we play against them at at Dean Court. We expected us to, as like I said, score. Get an immediate equaliser, and we nearly got one. But what it was is that it was like, I don't think there was no anxiety in the crowd, no shouting, because Bournemouth kind of encouraged us with their tactics. I've never seen a team give the ball back to a good team so much as Bournemouth did. They didn't hold the ball up. every time they got the ball, they lost the ball and they gave it back to us. They kept on allowing us to come forward and come forward. So I can only go from my perspective. People were getting frustrated, but I was saying, look, we're going to win this because it's not, the way Bournemouth are playing, it's not sustainable. Normally, if you put men behind the ball, at least you know, when you do get the ball, you hold on to it for a bit. But Bournemouth were hitting it along, ball kept him back, coming back. Give the ball to Solanke, he loses the ball, loses possession. Same as Zamora. Every one of them will lose possession. I was thinking, this isn't sustainable. But, you know, I can see why fans got frustrated because our decision-making and final ball just wasn't there. I think, sadly, when Trossard left the field, we became lopsided. And poor old Smith Rowe just isn't a left-sided player. You're probably been better off playing Smith Rowe up front and playing Martinelli in that position because Smith Rowe might have given us a bit more in terms of like he's more a middle player. He wasn't going to run the channels. He wasn't going to, you know, I said get him behind and put crosses. It's not Smith Rowe's game. So, you know, you've got to give Arteta a lot of credit for like, you know, taking off Smith Rowe. And to be honest, when I was saying it was harsh, there were a few people who soon talked me down and said, no, he's been like they're using S words, B words, and F words towards him. That's how they felt about his performance, and that it was. And even when we equalised to get 2-2, I always believed, but people around me just weren't having it. They were angry with the goalkeeper, Neto. They thought that he was single-handedly responsible for us, you know, dropping a point because of the amount of his time wasting. But, you know, I'm just saying is that one of the things that, you know, we need to sort of like probably discuss or future reference is that despite the fact we won and how we won, we're still conceding clear-cut chances against a very, very, very bad team. Now, it's no disrespect to Bournemouth fans, though they're not going to agree with what I said, but that wasn't a great performance. It would have been injustice if Bournemouth got a point or even got a win out of that because of the way they played. Not because they had the dark arts, it's because they kept on giving us the ball. They were actually, you know, one of those things where you're in a boxing ring and you're basically put your hands down. You're basically asking a big punch to punch you in the face. Hit me hard. I'm not going to defend you. Catch me in the button. That's what Bournemouth were doing. They were basically begging for us to attack them. And it's like they got above themselves because we were making the wrong decisions. They were making last-ditch tackles. Neto was making the odd catch. But apart from that, they were begging to be beaten. And let's not forget, we had 3 VAR controversies as well, where I personally thought none of them were penalties. Not one of them were penalties. The 2 from Metham, the 1 from Billing, not one was a penalty. But it was one of those things. We kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think, you know, one good guy in front of me said, you're right, you're right. He said that after the second goal. And I said, look, watch how Bournemouth are playing. But one thing fans have to worry about, despite the celebrations, defend a bit better. Because, you know, I don't think we're going to keep on being, you know, having to have that kind of luck. Because the way we're playing at the moment, we're at the score 4 or 5. If you defend like we're doing, that's how much, that, you know, you ain't going to win games 1-0 playing like, defending like we do with the goals we concede.
Yeah, 100%. Jez, what about you? What did you make of? Kenny said none of them were penalties. I think that one was a penalty, the one where his arm was up here and it hit him here. I was like, that's a bit of an unnatural position for your arm. But other than that, I thought they would have all been super soft penalties if they'd got given. But what did you make of the performance overall and where we're at?
Yeah, I mean, it was a shaky start, wasn't it? And I personally, my view on what happened was the fact that, I mean, their manager said it was a tactic they were going to try, and it worked. He actually said in his after-match interview he was going to try and go quick and get an early goal. Well, they certainly did. And I think Arsenal after that were a bit shell-shocked. They couldn't quite believe what had happened. But yeah, as Kenny, I agree with Kenny. We've got to defend a lot better. You know, from the minute, well, the 1 second that game starts, we've got to start and be focused. We weren't. We were slack and we were lackadaisical, and it was just poor. And we were on the back foot then, 2-0 down, could have been 3-0 down. mentioning the penalties, I don't think any of them were penalties personally, and they would have all been, to get one of them would have been very soft. I think basically the referee and VAR, dare I say it, got it right. They were looked at, I think, twice, was it? On 2 occasions they were looked at by VAR.
3 times.
3 times, was it? I know the one where it hit him on the shoulder up here was looked at because his arm was, as you say, lean and unnatural position. But it would have been harsh. The other one where the guy went like that, that's never a penalty to me. I always
What about the one on Tomiyasu? Because there was a tackle on Tomiyasu, and on the replay, it looked like he kicked him. Yeah, but I mean, it's super soft. I mean, it's literally like just a little coming together like that. But
I don't think it was, not at all. I mean, I just didn't agree with that at all. The thing is, though, just to reiterate what Kenny was saying, we're coming up against some good teams very shortly, and we've got to sharpen up our defence. I think our defence, to me, since Christmas, has got slack, and I'm going to pop I'm going to point out Saliba. I don't think has been as good as he was before the World Cup. I really don't. He was so sharp. He was covering everywhere. No, he seems to slip down a little bit, and he needs to get back on his game. Gabriel has stepped up, in my opinion. I think Ben White, after he came on as a sub, put in a great performance. Happy to see him score his first goal, and that put us back in the game. If he hadn't scored that, I think we would have lost the game, personally, or got a draw. We don't need draws right now, guys. We need to win. We've got Liverpool, dare I say it, after yesterday, and we've got Man City coming up. They are going to be our banana skins. Newcastle dropped off, so I'm a bit more confident about going up to St. James's Park. But we've got a tough period coming now, people. We're, Thursday, Sunday. That makes a big difference in a game of football. And Arsenal, if dare I say it, I'm worried that we can't afford any more injuries. Because if we get more injuries, then we are in deep crap.
Yeah, totally agree. Listen, big up to everyone watching. Make sure you smash the like button. I want to highlight this. He said, Brian says, thanks, Kenny, for an honest opinion. Your mate over here, he means me, believes that we smash and grabbed from a team that were barely holding on. The reason I said we smash and grabbed, you can have 80% of the ball all you like. You can have 30 shots and 19 corners all you like. Yeah, the fact is, if you actually look at the clear-cut chances we created, it was literally none. We never got him around the back of them and went one-on-one. Never got him around the back of them and whipped one across goal, tapping. The goals that we scored, were, listen, the cross from Reece Nelson was the only decent cross we put in the box all day. Literally, the only decent cross we put in. Every single cross we put into that box, either at the first man, or was just headed away. Yeah, and when you look at their clear-cut chances, let's use Liverpool as an example. Liverpool got clear-cut chances yesterday, bang, back of the net. Yeah, Bournemouth, 2 players got in each other's way. They scored with a decent cross across the box, shocking defending the first goal, but they actually broke away. And yes, that's down to our high line. And yes, we were trying to play aggressively. But how many times do we actually see their goalkeeper make a save? Yeah, and that's what I meant by smash and grab. We scored literally the last kick of the game pretty much. Yeah, to nab a win. When, just because Odegaard's shooting and aimlessly crossing balls in. I mean, if you look at the one where they broke away and the 2 players got in each other's way, Ramsdale saved it. I think it was offside anyway. Yeah, the guy who crossed the ball across, I think he was marginally offside. If you actually go all the way back and look at how that started, Bukayo Saka gets the ball on the right-hand side, comes inside, he's got 3 players all surrounding him, all in front of him, within 5 yards of each other. 25 yards out, he's off balance and he tries to shoot. Mate, you're never scoring from there. You're never getting through them 3 players. Why don't you just keep the ball ticking? Yeah, and this is what winds me up sometimes with not just Arsenal, but with every team. It's like you're trying to shoot from impossible angles in impossible moments when you're never going to get the ball through that gap. 3 men stood right in front of you. They then break out the other end. And if they, listen, on another day, that could have been 2-0, and then it is curtains. Yeah, because then if they go on and get the third, we're finished. Yeah, and it's like, that's what I'm saying, smash and grab. Yeah, I don't personally believe that we did enough to win that football match. Obviously, in the end, we did. Listen, Kenny, you think differently. Jez, you may think differently as well, and so may everyone else. Me personally, that for 78, 90, 80 minutes or so, yeah, it was literally just sideways, pot shot in from nowhere, trying to win corners, which we were then never going to score off of. Yeah, and me and Ola were sat there ripping our hair out. We were like, just have a little bit more quality. If you want to get some crosses into the box, get the man off the bench who can actually cross a ball. Yeah, instead of Levy, he's the best crosser of the ball at the club, Tierney. If you want to go down that route, put Zinchenko in the middle for the rest of the game. Yeah, because they were at that point with 10 minutes to go, they weren't even trying to come forward. They were just hoofing it and sitting back. So if you want to try and cross the ball into the box, at least do it with a little bit of quality rather than just aimless crosses. And that's what I was saying. People just don't understand what I said. Like, you can have all the ball in the world. Yeah, possession never scored a goal. Like, Leicester won the league with hardly any possession. So it is what it is. Big up to Mr. B. He says, I'm on the way to see Brentford actually play a game of football at the G-Tech. Great win for you. On the flip side, Bournemouth must be gutted. I see a Bournemouth vlogger in the crowd. Like, he was vlogging for Bournemouth TV, I think it was, or whatever. Yeah, and he filmed that from their end, like, and with the crowd reaction, he was just like, I can't believe it. Like, the face, all their faces just dropped. And I want to say one thing as well, because I've seen so many people sit here and say, oh yeah, but it was scored over stoppage time. Yeah, well, if Adam Smith hadn't laid on the floor on 90 minutes 34 seconds for nearly a minute, they wouldn't have had that time back on. Yeah, there was nothing wrong. Yeah, and Aston Villa did this. Yeah, wasting time. Yeah, well, let's get him added back on, mate. Yeah, so if you want to stop pissing around, yeah, it won't get added back on, and you might have ended up nicking a draw out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. Thank you for that, mate. I want to come back to this comment though. I'll start with you, Jez, with this one. The fact that Arteta played a fairly weakened side against Bournemouth makes me think he'll go strong in the Europa. If he does, do you think that'll cost us the league? I want to win both, but I prioritise the Prem. What do you make of that, mate? What would you do?
I tend to agree with Jamino's comment there. I think he set up the team against Bournemouth thinking about Thursday evening, the fact we're away at Sporting Lisbon, and that he's thinking, okay, maybe being a bit disrespectful to Bournemouth and the fact that, you know, they are where they are, they're fighting for survival, coming to the Emirates, and they you know, okay, they're coming to the Emirates, we can beat them, and I'll put out a team that isn't the first squad, but we've got a massive game Thursday night in the Europa Cup, and I think he'll go strong. I do. I think he wants. I mean, what kudos would it be if him as the new Arsenal manager after 3 years? When I say new, what I mean is, if he was to go out there and get to the Europa League final and win it, I mean, that's a massive statement. But do we have the squad for it? I don't think so. I don't think we've got the depth, sadly. I hope we can get through it, get to that final and win it. And no, I don't want us to play Man United in that final. I really don't.
I don't know. After yesterday, I'd bring them on.
Mate, that ain't going to happen, is it? Come on, that's a one-off yesterday. We know Man United, they've come back, but I mean, that was just an awful day out. We've seen it when we got stuffed at Old Trafford, wasn't it? 8-2, something like that, years ago. You know, and we had a very weakened team that day. No, I think he's going to go for it, mate. I do. I think on two fronts, he's going to go for it. Premier League is massive. We've got to win the league. It's a massive statement. We get back into the Champions League. That will make a massive, massive difference to this football club, and it will make a massive difference to the fan base if we win the Premier League. Because a lot of the facts, this is my opinion, nobody else's, a lot of the issues with the fan base league, Kenny, is a lot of these people have never seen Arsenal win the Premier League. They don't understand what it means. Therefore, they go on Twitter and all this bullshit and they put it all out there. They don't understand what it means. No, oh, it's top four. No. Winning the league is what we used to do. And that's what we need to do. And we need to win that league, Lee and Kenny and chat, because that will show these people what it is really all about. Fact.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't agree more. And the fact that, you know, we're going to get dogs abuse if we do win the league, I couldn't care less, because at the end of the day, all three of us have said this is the standard. Yeah. Yes, we can't go invincible every year, of course not, but at least have a go. That lot used to have a go every year. Yeah. And the fact that our fans are now feeling the moment, they've never seen us, a lot of these fans, be 5 points clear with 12 games to go. And that feeling they're getting is the best feeling they've ever had supporting this football club. Yeah, it's our fault, and we're all negative that we wanted that anyway. Makes no sense. But Kenny, what would you do with this Europa League? Because like we don't know how long Trossard's out for. I haven't seen anything. If the chat can help out, that'd be great. We don't know how long Eddie's out for. JEZ'S is hopefully back this month. But again, is he going to be 100% when he comes flying back into the team? You know, the fact that we have rotated a few players. Xhaka was benched. Vieira just, for me, ain't good enough. Tommy Asu, I've said it all the time, he's just bang average. Yeah, and I'm glad Arteta hooked him at half-time, because for the rest of the season, I don't care. Every single game, Ben White has to play right back for me, even Europa League. It was so much better. Andy can actually cross the ball half decent. But what would you do, Kenny?
Well, I think Arteta's got no choice but to rotate. One of the things we were saying, we were saying two things we haven't seen. We didn't think we were ever going to see, you know, from the summer, was Arteta rotate and Arsenal score from a corner routine. But in terms of like what rotate, he's got no choice but rotate. He has to rotate, because the simple reason is that you've got, if you think about it, Everton, Bournemouth, Lisbon, Fulham, Lisbon, and then it's Crystal Palace. So he's going to have to rotate, and then he's got to sort of like pray that players came back after the the international break. But in terms of like the Europe, a lot of people say they haven't seen Arsenal ever win a Premiership trophy, but you know, our European record is an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment. And let's just cut the chase. Yeah, we got to a European Europa League final 4 years ago. Before that, when was the last time we got to Europa League final? That was probably another 19 years where we made fools of ourselves in Copenhagen against Galatasaray Istanbul, where it was just a non-event. And then before that, that was Zaragoza, David Naim from the halfway line, or even further. You know what I mean? So our pedigree in Europe isn't great. And this again, it's the thing about it is that the thing about it, right, is that if you play your best teams and you have a risk of injury, then obviously it's a knock-on effect in league game. But if you play a weakened team and you get smacked, heavily by Sporting Lisbon home and away, even though the league's a priority, defeats kill momentum. Defeats have an effect on all the players, because at the end of the day, some of those players who would have played in those Europa League games, are now you need to get them mentally right for the league game. So I think the situation is that I think if JEZ'S is back fit as soon as possible, then I think we can go in two fronts, especially if Eddie is fit, because at the end of the day, we're going to need every player for the league run, and the only way we're going to be able to rely on these players is if they come to us fresh, not just haven't played for a while. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I want Reece Nelson playing Lisbon, because I want to have a look at Reece, and I want Smith Rowe playing, because I want him to get match fit. So if anything happens to one of our players, or Arteta decides, you know what, you're out of form, I'm going to get Reece in, I'm going to get Smith Rowe in, and I think that's why sometimes you have to play as good a team as you can. But the momentum thing is the most important thing, and the fact that we haven't won in Europe. But again, it's a psychological thing as well. When we won the league in '98, a lot of people just settled for overhauling Man United, but we didn't. oh man, we went and won the FA Cup. Must not forget, you know, Man United went and won the treble. That's a great side. If you win the league, just won the league, then you're a fantastic side and you're going legends. But to actually prove you're the best, I would like teams to, you know, compete on all fronts and bring home 2 trophies, because that way you think, right, you know, no one could say, oh, Man City, reason why Arsenal won the league because Liverpool behind the 8 ball, Man City were out of Nick Tottenham and this and that. But if we win the league and go and win the Europa Cup, yeah, that's the mentality. Because at the end of the day, we ask and we cried out, all 3 of us, for us to have a ruthless mentality when it comes to every football game, win trophies. That you know, we didn't like the top 4. We thought the top 4 was a waste of space that Spurs seem to prioritise, and Man United seem to think is the alpha and the omega. So I think we got, because I do get the fact that the squad's thinning is probably a bit thin, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Tommy Ace, you can still play Tommy Ace. Tierney, a player that we still rate, he can play, he's good enough to play on Thursday. You know, you want to have a lump like Vieira. You know Saka's going to play, no matter how much you say to him, Arteta, please rest him, don't get him injured. Arteta it seems this whole system, Saka, still, despite the fact that, you know, we've got the best player in the league, despite the fact we've got Zinchenko, despite that Odegaard is showing some leadership, he's go-to man is Saka. So I don't know. It's all about, I can see both sides where you don't want to, you know, risk key players going into the final running, but I think you could still rotate and mix up a bit and still go for it. You know what I mean? Rather than just play, you know, like just kids, you know, and you know, players who've got no chance of playing in our first team. You know, I want it mix and match. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I still think that I'm greedy. I want it all. I just don't want it. I want it all.
100%, mate. I want it all as well. Big up to everyone watching, man. 400 people in there nearly. Make sure you smash the like button. Sub to JEZ'S channel. Follow Kenny Ken's Insta. Both links in the description. Sub to my second channel, Lee Reacts. That's in there as well. But I'm glad we've spoken about Reece Nelson, because there's reports doing the rounds, Jez, that we're looking to sign him up to a new contract. He's obviously out of contract in the summer. I'll quickly give my thoughts on this. I like Reece Nelson. I think he's a good player. But is this a cost-cutting exercise when the guy is clearly made of glass? If you go through his injury record at Arsenal and when he's been out on loan, it is mad. We think Smith Rowe's always injured and Tierney's always injured. This guy's been injured more than all of them. Yeah, this guy is literally in and out constantly. He can't stay fit for 5 weeks. Me personally, if we are going to sign him to a new contract, I still want to see someone coming in that's light years better, that can challenge for a first team spot on a regular basis and maybe even nick the first team spot. And then you keep him as the backup. I don't know. But what would you do, Jez? Because it screams of cost-cutting exercise and it screams of reactionary, if I'm honest. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, I totally agree on that one. Yeah, I mean, everybody's hyping this up now, is that he came on, got an assist, scored a great goal, and let's sign him up for another 5 years or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's a cheap shot, personally. Yeah, okay, sign him up for another 2 years, maybe. 2 years max. He's a backup player. He's not always going to be fit. We know that, as you quite rightly have said. His injury record is pretty shambolic. Bit like, really, Van Persie, when we had him injured all the bleeding time, one great season, and then buggers off to Man United because Arsenal showed no ambition. So, you know, yeah, I wouldn't give him a 5-year contract. No way. I'll give him maybe 2 years. But we still need to invest, because if we do win this Premier League and get into that Champions League, we have got to buy some pretty big players, because we're going to be embarrassed, seriously embarrassed, all round Europe. This current squad, let's get it right. We aren't going to be able to compete against the likes of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, our nemesis, beating us 5-1, 5-1, and Barcelona and the teams of that ilk. It ain't going to happen. So at the end of the day, no. Give him a 2-year contract. Yeah, fair play. Backup player, fair play. But no more than that. And I don't want to see some stupid amount of money a week. I don't know what he's on now. No idea. But yeah, I mean, Saka, I'd sign him up. And why has he not signed? I don't get it. What's going on there? That always worries me. But no. Not a long contract for me. Backup player. And we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, I agree. If we're going to sign him up, it can't be a 5-year deal on stupid money. I've just brought his injury record up on the screen. Since 18-19 season, I mean, look how many different injuries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of them was Corona. 9, 10, 11, 12 different injuries. And missing 8 games here, 8 games there, 2, 3, 1. I mean, look at the days that he's out. 43 days, 56 days, 39, 46, 49. I mean, for somebody that's 20-something years old, how old is he? I think he's 23. Yeah, he's 23, just turned 23. That is a hell of a lot of injuries, mate. What do you think, Kenny?
No contract. He was just, as much as he excited me, as much as he created great euphoria for his assist and his cross for the second goal, and great euphoria for the winner. He was just doing his job. We need people to put their hands up and lend a hand. Every squad member should lend a hand, because we haven't got our number 1 number 9, and we haven't got a substitute. But the thing is that but you got to remember, we're going to be very careful with our development. We need to be signing players who can push for that first team. I only want who are going to help us win the league and help us win the Champions League. I don't want any remnants of Arsenal's top 4 past, because as far as I'm concerned, that's the past now. The process is over. Not like we should have, not that it exists in the first place. But when people say trust the process, the minute we went top of the table and started winning games consecutively, the process is over now, which means we're part of the big boys now. So the players we should be signing are players who are going to help us win the league and help us win the Champions League. So the market of players that we should be going for are players that Chelsea go for, Man City go for, Liverpool go for, Man United, the top players, and even players that are coveted by Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's the level. I'm sorry, Reece, respect you, but you can't have it both ways. We can't praise Arteta and emphasise with Arteta's ruthlessness towards players like Tomiyasu, who we feel the team's moved from, and we can't speculate. And we feel accurately that Kieran Teasdale moved on, not just for health or physical health reasons, but because the team's moved away from them. So if that's the case, then we have to be just as ruthless with Reece Nelson, who hasn't contributed or as much as probably the players that we feel that are we don't feel that are going to take us into the future. Sadly, players have been good servants to us. The same with, we say we need to use that same energy for Reece Nelson that we use towards El Neni, who, let's face it, we don't rate him, but when he plays, 9 out of 10 times we're giving him virtually the man of the match. Now this guy, nothing against Reece Nelson, I've got respect for him, but El Neni's contributing more than Reece Nelson, and hasn't let his team down, even when he's come on and when he started. So, but in terms of like the caliber of player he needs, he doesn't fit into our DNA. I don't think Reece is fit in our DNA. As we say before, football waits for no one, especially when you're a big club at Arsenal, especially when a manager's giving the impression that he's not waiting around. You've seen what he's doing. He did to Tierney. You've seen what he's doing to Tomiyasu. You've seen the sort of like firing blanks towards my guy Benjamin White when he feels, well, hang on, mate. yeah, you're playing well. But if you're not consistent, I'll get Tommy Asu in. So you've got to be ruthless. We've asked for that. We've gone in podcasts for that. You know, me, you, and Jez have done it for 2.5, 3 years. Me and you and Lee have done it every podcast, even the podcast we're banned from. We've said the same thing. So we've got to use the same energy, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I'll see. It's a bit split in the chat. I mean, there's a lot of people saying sign him up. Like, he's out of contract in the summer, so he's walking for free, right? But the club have only got themselves to blame in this, like, for letting him run his contract down in the first place. So now what? We're just going to sign him up, waste another squad place, if that is the case, because we're still going to have to go and find better attacking players for Champions League football. I can't find the comment. Somebody in here said that he's on Anthony and Sancho's level. There it is. Anthony and Sancho's level based on what? What, 1 goal and 1 assist at the weekend? Bro, the guy's literally played 85 minutes of football all season. 85 Premier League minutes is all he's played all season. Yeah, and yeah, you can say, yeah, he's got 3 goals and an assist in that time. Fantastic. Whoopie-doo. Yeah, 85 minutes for the whole season. We're in March. Yeah, and like Kenny said, football waits for no one. For me personally, I like Reece Nelson. I think he is a good player. But if you're only going to get 85 minutes out of the lad, yeah, and there's nothing to suggest you're going to get more than that next season, because I've just shown you his injury record. Yeah, he's injured every season for quite long periods as well. 40 days, 50 days, 40 days, 44 days. Yeah, but this is the club's problem. And the thing is, they've allowed him to run his contract down to the point he leaves. And now fans are sitting there going, well, if he leaves and then goes and smashes it somewhere else, that's one that we could have kept. What? So is that a good enough reason just to sign him up to what, 50 grand, 60 grand a week? Yeah, for the next 5 years? Not for me, it ain't. Go and spend some money, buy another player that's miles better, that's more consistent, will fight for a first team place and nail it down, and will take you up a level. Because as much as I like Reece Nelson, he ain't gonna help us compete for a Champions League, which is the next step. So yeah, I'm with you guys. If we are going to sign him up, it can't be on massive money and it can't be a massive deal. Like 5 years. If you're going to sign him up on a quick 2-year deal, 40 grand, 30 grand a week. Yeah. And then in January, bin him. Yeah. If he ain't done it by January, yeah, bin him. But then you'll get a little bit of money for him. That's the only way I'd be happy signing him up. Yeah. But if he is doing it by January, then cool, keep him till the summer with 1 year left and bin him. Yeah. But I like him, but nah, not like that. I'm sorry. Not for me. Not for me. But we'll see what the club do, man. Big up to everyone inside. We might see Giroud get the bees. We might get Giroud at the bees, replacement for Tony. I'd be mad if Giroud's still playing next season. The guy just, it's mad. Yeah, crazy. And yeah, good luck tonight, mate. You're obviously going, so big up to. Nelson is talented. I've never said he's not, mate. I still get people rinse me on Twitter for putting him in a combined for starting 11 4 years ago. Yeah, but I'm not saying I don't rate him. I think he's a good player. But at the same time, I've just shown everyone his injury record. Yeah, it's only the fact that he scored that goal at the weekend that everyone's now saying sign him up. Nobody would have said sign him up if he hadn't come off the bench and scored at the weekend. Yeah, so let's not have a little bit of recency bias. Yeah, and look at the facts. He has played 85 minutes of football this season. Yeah, yes, he's scored a cracking goal, which has kept us 5 points clear, and he's chipped in and done his little bit. But going forward, nah, not for me. Not for me. But anyway, there is over 400 people in here. Make sure you are smashing the like button. Sub into the channel, sub into JEZ'S channel, link in description, Arsenal history and more, and to Kenny Ken's Insta. Before we wrap this up, and I'm on with Henry after this. Before I wrap this up, let me quickly read that out. I didn't realise there was an endoscope and unit at Anfield until I see United get penetrated at the back. That game was crazy. I can't lie. That game was mad. 8 shots, 7 goals. Insane. And players giving up left, right and centre, asking to be subbed. In fact, do you know what? For the last 10 minutes, let's talk about that, Jez. Bruno Fernandes, captain for the day, on the left wing for the first time ever in his career. The manager then puts Weghorst up front. Rashford, who's done his best work on the left, he puts on the right. The defence looks all over the place. Lisandro Martinez has been pretty decent this season. I don't know what he did yesterday. Luke Shaw, shocking. David De Gea, shocking. Couldn't catch COVID. Fred running around like a headless chicken. You then have Bruno play acting all game and then hiding, and then standing there asking to come off. And then at the end of the game, after they've been battered 7, he does an interview for TV and says, well, we've had worse days. The last time Man United lost 7, he did that. The last time Man United lost by 7 goals in the league was 1931. So what are these worst days? I did a show earlier and said that if that was Arsenal, right, and so for me, they embarrassed English football yesterday. Yeah, that's Man United. They embarrassed English football. And if that was Arsenal losing to Tottenham, heads need to roll. And heads need to roll at Man United. For me, Bruno can't ever play for that club again. Yeah, and you have to set the standards. When Fergie was manager of that football club, yeah, some of them players would never play for United again if he was in charge, and that happened. Yeah, and they knew that, and they were petrified of him. They kicked Roy Keane out for doing an MUTV interview, kicked a boot at Beckham's head, palmed him off to Madrid the next season. Like, they were petrified. Where's this? Are they going to do something here, Jez, or is it just, oh, don't worry, they'll all start again next week? What did you make of the game, and then what did you make of the players, and what do you think they're going to do? Are some going to get potted, or is it just going to be same old and they go again?
Well, I tell you, I watched it, and I was absolutely shell-shocked to see, one of probably the biggest football club in the world, fan base-wise, I'm talking about, Manchester United, done everything in football, to actually capitulate like that. I actually predicted a 1-1. So what do I know? It was just an embarrassment, shit show that football club has fallen so low. I mean, I know recent weeks they've had a bit of a purple patch and everything. It just showed yesterday, Lee, the frailties they have. I mean, I was shocked. I was watching it, I'm thinking, really? 7-0? No way. And the fact that some of those players, mate, are an embarrassment to that great football club. I hate Man United with a passion. They are our biggest rivals for the last 30 years. It's a different rivalry to Tottenham. Kenny will endorse that. It's the fact they challenged us with their great teams that they had over the years and the great teams we had in that team period. But, mate, I'm sorry for that to happen. I mean, when we got absolutely arse-wiped up at Old Trafford that time, when Wenger was our manager, that was an embarrassment to Arsenal Football Club. And
English football.
What happened. And English football. Yes. Manchester United losing 7-0 to their biggest rivals in that part of the country. People say, I was chatting to somebody today, actually. Oh, no, their biggest rivals are Man City. No. Sorry. It's Liverpool. They've challenged each other for donkey's years. Since the late 70s, when Man United were coming back into the great Liverpool teams that were around in that period. No. Embarrassment. I'll tell you what, if I was that manager today, I'd be telling a few people, you are going in the summer. If Ten Hag is still there in the summer, I don't know, you're out the door, because that was absolutely shocking. Disgusting embarrassment for that football club and English football.
I wouldn't even say gone in the summer. If Bruno Fernandes plays another game this season, that tells you all you need to know about Man United. Yeah, because they're at a crossroads right now for me. Yeah, I've sat there and said last week, it's nice to have United back. They've won a cup. Like the rivalry back in the day. We've seen it when we played Man United this season, the second game at the Emirates. Yeah, and it was like, Kenny, you was there. The atmosphere for Man United's always hype anyway. Yeah, but to then go and lose 7 to their biggest rivals, the biggest game in English football, they embarrassed English football yesterday. Yeah, and we'd see a couple of months back when Ronaldo refused to come on, he was then benched again. Then he did an interview and he was kicked out of the football club. Yeah, so there was some kind of accountability there. Where's the accountability going to be going forward for any of them players? Because Bruno Fernandes, for me, he was an absolute disgrace. That is one of the most cowardly performances I think I've ever seen of a footballer.
But you know what? It was all of them. I think what's happened is that first and foremost is believing the hype. You know, I put down on my Instagram, is it a freak result or is this or are we getting ahead of? I said, worse the effect, we getting ahead of ourselves with Man United, or it's a reality check. The thing is, first and foremost, with Bruno Fernandes, I think what you need to do is that it seems that you think you're throwing your weight around like you're the big I am since Cristiano Ronaldo left. You're thinking that, you know, look at me, I'm back to being the main man. Well, you've got to act like the main man. You know, the main men are not just there for the glory is to take a penalty, take a free kick, or score an important goal. This adversity. The fact is, Man United were fools themselves. They believed in that first half performance. Well, I'm sorry, if you're going to play that well, score. You invited Liverpool into that game by not taking your chances. You snatched at the chances you had, not being aggressive, just thinking, oh, it's all right. Liverpool got that habit of scoring against you quickly. When they score one or two, that means they score 3 or 4. Look what they did to us last season. We started a bit like Man United, comfortable. You know, it looked quieting down the Anfield crowd. They got 1, they got 2, and then boom, it was game over. And I think people talk about Man United. People have been underestimating Liverpool. Oh, we're 20 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool will have a say in this title. They're playing Man City, I think, next month, and they've got to play us. Does it on Easter Sunday?
Liverpool play Man City on the 1st of April, and then they play us on the 8th.
Yeah, and they play us on the 8th.
9th, sorry.
Well, whatever Liverpool turns up, Man City are going to be ready for them. I'll tell you one thing: our record against Liverpool, I was more worried about how we're going to play against Liverpool when we play them. That's why I wasn't laughing at Man United. I was too busy crapping myself, and I don't like using words when the children are that, but that's how I felt. I thought, oh my God, this is the Liverpool that will score. That, you know, when they play a big team, they're going to be up for it, and that is why I'm looking at the whole situation, and I'm fearing us. The banana skin is Liverpool at Anfield, where we have to be worried, where we have to think, you know what, we're creating clear-cut chances and gifts. All of Liverpool's goals were gifts. You know, blocking the goalkeeper when the first rule of defending, do not get in the penalty box. When a player's having a shot, you have to basically be out of the box, because the keeper needs to have the whole goal to himself so he can see. But if you're bloody Martinez, you're blocking it. What's going on? And then the second goal, you know, Casemiro being all casual, slipping, and then a free header. Then the third goal was even laughable. The way it was Man United's corner routine. And then the fourth one, where the player was trying to Salah offside, and he hits the ball on a volley. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And the thing is, they didn't try. They didn't want to know. They did not want to know. And that's the one thing you have to say. When you talk about Man United, Liverpool games in the 80s, as a neutral, there were players like Remy Moses, Brian Robson, Norman Whiteside. On the other side, you had Souness, Jan Molby, you know, dogs of war, real dogs of war. And then they go and produce that shit, that crap. That's just unacceptable. And for Man United fans, and you know what? The fact is that if we take off our let's laugh at Man United shades, 2 things we've learnt this season. One thing is Man United still got a long way to go, but they'll be all right because they still got the FA Cup, still got the Europa League. And, you know, with that sort of manager, he's going to make sure that they will never do that to him again. I know people will say, yeah, we did it against City, but he won't let that happen again. But from an Arsenal perspective, Liverpool got the top 4 to go for. They're getting the top 4. Now that everyone's coming fit, now they've got Jota back fit, they've got Firmino back fit, they've got, you know, Nunez, they've got Nunez, they've got, you know, who else is, Nunez playing well, they've got Gakpo, and let's not forget, they still got Luiz. So their forward line is virtually 100% fit. And then in midfield, you know, he's not going to be playing Harvey Elliott against Partey, I can tell you that. He'll be playing Henderson, he'll be playing Fabinho, and he'll be playing his tried and tested Milner. And then he's going to play his back 4, and they're going to give us nothing. So before you do your Benny Hill act to all the Arsenal fans and go with all this nonsense about Man United, think about that game on the 9th of April. We are not out of the woods.
Very quickly as well. I don't know if you guys have sussed this because I didn't know this until earlier when I was on show with Saeed. Man City have only got one more Premier League game this month because they got a Champions League game and they've got an FA Cup game, which means that their Premier League game that weekend of the FA Cup, I think it was West Ham, has been postponed. I think it was West Ham, which means
West Ham, yeah.
Which means we're playing Crystal Palace that weekend when they're playing in the FA Cup. So if we beat Fulham and they beat, I think they got Palace next, we'll still be 5 points clear. By the time they play their next Premier League game, which is Liverpool, we could be 8 points clear of them with them playing Liverpool. Then the following week, we play Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
only if they'll have a game in hand. But if we can get 8 points clear of them and they're going to
you're looking too far ahead, mate. You're looking too far ahead. The reason why I think
I know, but I'm getting excited, Kenny. I'm getting excited.
No, it's not because of that. It's not that. It's not my rule of one game at a time. People seem to forget we are conceding clear-cut chances. Everton, even though we beat them 4-0, in that first half, they'll break out the play and getting bodies forward. It's only they're a pork chop up front called Mope. But if DCL was playing, that would be a different kettle of fish. You would have held up the ball, and they would have created some good chances. They had half chances against us. So we're playing competitive teams. We're playing Fulham are going to be competitive. You know, they think they're going to get in the Europa League. They'll settle for the conference. And then you've got Crystal Palace. They don't give up. Crystal Palace don't care. They don't care. They come to win at every game. You know, and you know one thing about Crystal Palace, they've got pace, real pace. So as much as we got this bounce back ability, we can't keep on going that well. And that's when I looked at Liverpool and I looked at the clear-cut chances we created. I'm scared. I'm worried. And then I look at games, they're competitive. Crystal Palace is competitive. Fulham's competitive. You know, and I think that's why I look at it and I'm thinking, you know what? Fix up the defence. Don't rely on Thomas to get you out of stuck. You know what I mean? Because, you can't. He's not Samson. You know, he's not Samson who's going to just hold the wall off. He can't do it on his own. So we need to fix up defensively because at the moment we can't. We're not always going to score 4 or 5 or come down for 2-0 down. So enjoy what you do. You know, enjoy the sort of like euphoria. Yes, go and get your plaster sorted. Go and get your bandages for all the times you've done your back in, cut your head because you're celebrating. But just remember one thing: you've got to focus and look at the Liverpool game, Man United game with a bit of trepidation at our own team.
Lee, can I just answer this one? Yeah, this one, Zoe's Media House. What's that do with Arsenal emblem name? He's talking utter rubbish. He is an embarrassment. Well, sweetheart, if you know anything about Arsenal that I know, come on the show and have a say. Because I'm sorry, 100%. I doubt you know absolute jack shit. So, I do talk rubbish sometimes, but I'm sure I know a lot more about football than you, darling. Good luck.
And on that bombshell, she's here all the time. So whoever blocked her shouldn't have blocked her. And listen, she can say what she wants, and so can Jez. Yeah, but she does watch this channel all the time. So just leave her in the chat. Don't block her. I've unblocked you, by the way. But yes, well said, Jez. It is what it is. Football is a highly strung game, and emotions fly around everywhere.
Look at that last comment. Dude, don't call me sweetheart, or I will report you. I'll call you what I like.
Let's play nice in the chat, people. Let's play nice. I'm going to wrap this up before we all kick off.
Cancel culture. Cancel culture. Really? Is this the 21st century phenomenon? Cancel culture.
It is what it is, mate. Listen, I'm fucking used to it. Like the amount of times, Kenny, the amount of times me and you have tried to be cancelled is mad. But listen, Jez, what have you got coming up, mate?
Wednesday night podcast. Kenny, if you're around, mate, for that one.
I'm always around. You know me.
6 o'clock. And we talk about the upcoming back into the Europa League and the weekend. So, 6 o'clock Wednesday. Zoe, come and have a chat with us, and I'm sure we'll entertain you.
Yeah, whoever keeps blocking her as well, don't block her. Just leave her in the chat. Yeah, she's watched this channel for times. Just leave her in there. Yeah, whoever keeps blocking her, stop blocking her. Somebody the other day blocked somebody as well. Yeah, for saying good show, lads. I don't want to have to start taking moderator tags away from people because, like, listen, at the end of the day, there's people that have been here for a long, long time watching this channel. Yeah, and they're also entitled to their opinion as well. Yeah, like, I don't have to agree with them. Yeah, but it's the ones that come in acting like complete and utter fucking idiots every day that get blocked. Yeah, to be fair, she's in here all the time. Yeah, and yeah, cool, keep it clean and all of that. But Kenny, what you got going on, mate? What you what you got coming up?
I've promised Arsenal Alex. I promised to do something with Arsenal Alex later this evening. So whilst I'm doing that, also I'm going to have one eye in the West London derby because you know what, I need some entertainment, and I can't think of two West London teams are going to give me entertainment. Don't let me down now, Brentford. Don't play boring football. Let's have it. You know, because I'm going to enjoy watching that Ivan Toney for as long as I can before he gets his ban. Let me tell you something now. I was talking to one guy, Gunnar Russell Hogg, you know, he watches this as well. And I've actually found our number 9. Unfortunately, he'll be having one of the longest enforced rests ever. But that's our number 9. I think about who can give us, who can hold the ball up, who can run.
Mate, I've been banging on about Ivan Toney since Championship, and I was told that my ball knowledge was non-existent.
Seriously, mate, I look at him every time I look at him, and even the highlights. That is the missing link up front. It's him,
class, mate.
It's him.
Yeah, top draw player. I'm going on with Henry Wright TV right now. So make sure you come and join in, people. The link is in the chat. Go and spam his chat with. Is there a go-kart emoji? Is there actually a go-kart or a Formula 1 car emoji or something? Go and spam his chat with that.
Spurs playing on Wednesday. Spurs playing on Wednesday.
Let's have a look. Yeah, I think they got Milan.
I'll draw the curtains then.
Yeah, they're playing Wednesday. Yeah, they're playing Wednesday. Okay. That's funny. Make sure you follow Kenny Kem 1972. JEZ'S, his link for his channel Arsenal History and More is in description. My pinned comment in the chat is my second channel. Go and show that some love. And yeah, man, go and spam that racing car emoji or just car emojis in Henry's chat. And I'll be there in literally 90 seconds. I'm going to go make a cup of tea quickly and I'll be there. And I'll be back again tomorrow, 1 p.m. And then on with Flewers. I'm not sure what time, but he's getting it, mate. He is getting it. How dare he? How dare he say I'm Arteta in and I was wrong to always be Arteta out? Number one, I've never said I'm Arteta in. And number two, yeah, I was fucking right all the way until this season, my friend. So he's getting it tomorrow. He's pissed me off. We're out of here. Adios. Ciao.